Okay, this video might be a little bit longer than normal, but I need to keep your attention. Now, the other day, I put out a video exposing the fact that CNN was having these detainees calling in from Alligator Alcatraz. And they were complaining about they have hot showers and that their air conditioning went out for a whole afternoon. And so, not only have I confirmed this with other content creators who did time, but Ohio prisons, there's 26 of them. Ohio prisons, the only air conditioning in those prisons would be in the visitation rooms or the administrator's office, where the warden is, the deputy warden, the COs, the lieutenants, the white shirts, whatever you want to call them. They get air conditioning. Inmates do not. Now, I highlighted not one, but two horror stories from when I was in the Ohio Reformatory for Women. Now, so these detainees were given the opportunity, right? The detainees at Alligator Alcatraz, they were given the opportunity to get a free flight back to their home country, $1,000, and they were going to help them get a pathway to citizenship faster. But not many people chose to use the CBP One Home app to self-deport and get $1,000 to help them get on their feet. They weren't just shipping these people back home with nothing. $1,000 in Mexico is a lot of money, or whatever third world country that they came from. You could self-deport and get a free flight home. You can get $1,000 cash, and you can get a pathway to citizenship faster if you had self-deported. Now, the detainees at Alligator Alcatraz chose not to. And so our president and Secretary Kristi Noem said, look, if we have to find you and use our resources to do so, not only will you be placed in a detention facility, that means to detain somebody until they could be sent back home, they're going to be banned from coming to America for life, which I think is very fair. If you were to ask me, I think it's very fair. I don't think that giving them $1,000 is okay. I don't. You came here, you got all that money under the Biden-Harris administration. You didn't save any. That's your fault, not ours. So, anyways, I talked about two stories when I was in the Ohio Reformatory for Women. Horror stories. You can ask anybody who has done time, whether it be in a prison or county jail. We don't get access to air conditioning. The only places in the county jail that do have air conditioning, again, is in the administrator's offices or the medical units. And this is why you will see so many inmates at the county jail doing stuff to themselves so they can get on the medical unit. And you got to remember, it's jail or prison. It's not meant to be comfortable. They don't want you coming back. So I highlighted two stories. This one is from 2014. In 2014, the Ohio Reformatory for Women, also known as ORW, in Marysville experienced multiple incidents of maggots being found in food and serving areas, leading to protests and concerns about sanitation and food service quality. Now, if you pause that to read it, you could see down at the bottom, the inmates stood up and threw their trays away, but that wasn't all. We were calling home, we were calling news stations and all kinds of stuff. The prison blamed it on Aramark. That is the company responsible for feeding inmates slop. And so it makes me very angry that we have people, detainees, that came to our country illegally. They knew they were coming here illegally. They're complaining about their food portions. Have you seen their food? Because not only are they getting fresh fruit, they're getting fresh vegetables, they're getting roasted chicken, rice, they're getting big, nice, edible meals. And we had to deal with maggots. The air conditioning is just the tip of the iceberg. You are in this country illegally. You have been detained because we had to use our resources to find you and put you in order to get you out when you were offered the opportunity to self-deport. Well, we're seeing more people self-deporting these days. But to complain that you don't have air conditioning, Do you think it only gets hot in Florida? Because in Ohio, it gets hot as balls with a humidity at like 1,000%. And I can remember the sweltering summers in the Ohio Reformatory for Women. We were lucky on the weekends that when it got so hot, the COs were given the green light to allow us to wear our extra clothing that we got from clothing boxes from either Walking Horse or another, I forget what the other company was, but there was a company, like a catalog, that your family or your friends or whoever can purchase for you, like Nike shorts, t-shirts, Nike t-shirts. Now, if you don't have commissary, you're stuck in state clothing. And state issued clothing is like thick cotton / polyester. It's very itchy. It's very uncomfortable. It's elastic. The inmates that don't have anything in the prison systems, they have a hard time. That is doing hard time when you don't have anybody on the outs helping you when you're inside. While these detainees, because they're not here doing sentences like for years, they're just going to be held there until they can be deported, they at least get a hot shower, which I get it. In Florida, you take 3 a day. But, they get their shower, they get their 3 hots and a cot. And I looked at Alligator Alcatraz, and I remember ORW. I'll never forget what the prison in Ohio looked like. I'll never forget it. It's seared into my mind forever. Hot showers, huh? Well, for several weeks, we had to deal with ice cold showers because ORW did not have hot water. Information suggests that conditions at the Ohio Reformatory for Women, including issues with hot water access and showers, were subject of concern and inspection in the years surrounding summer of 2017. You can literally read the rest. You can pause it to read it, but they're listing this as acceptable or in need of improvement due to chipping paint, soap scum, black spots, rust stains, yada, yada, yada. Again, it's prison. It's not meant to be the Hilton. They design jails and prisons so that your stay is not luxurious. That's kind of the point. And so these detainees at Alligator Alcatraz, even though they get good food, they get showers, period, they get 3 hots in their cots, they will know that if you come back here, you're going to go right back to jail. And from the looks of it, Alligator Alcatraz looks like a Hilton compared to what Americans, millions of us, deal with when we're inside the prison systems. And if you've been in jail, comment down below. You guys remember what sweat meat is? There's sweat meat or there's the loaf. What is sweat meat? Well, it's like about that thick. It looks like a piece of bologna, but picture Freddy Krueger's face. And the reason why they call it sweat meat is because it sweats. Moisture like literally beads up on it, soaking your bread, making it nice and soggy. It's very questionable as to the freshness and where it originated from. That Nutriloaf, you know what it is? It's all sorts of everything blended together and baked. People would rather eat toilet paper than eat the Nutriloaf. The nasty grits. Look, I know good grits. Those grits are inedible. The cornbread, you could break a fucking window with it. And I think it's absolutely laughable that we have millions of Americans in the jails and the prisons within the United States, legal citizens. CNN doesn't do any stories on how we're treated or what kind of accommodations we have to deal with. They want you to feel bad for the undocumented migrants. No, they made a choice to come here illegally, like we made the choice and the decisions to break the law. And so I wanted to show you guys that this is exactly what we dealt with. So this is exactly what we dealt with. And do I feel sorry for these people? Abso-freaking-lutely not. I think CNN is focused on people who are here illegally when we should be focused on our American citizens instead. And now you see why we can't hate the media enough.